can wind and sun really power our future? Here we feature initiatives that lead us to a sustainable tomorrow, one story at a time. Welcome to CEStainability. Tonight, we spotlight a pioneer in renewable power with projects that have transformed the landscape of wind and solar power across the country. Welcome to the big story, Vince Perez, Chairman of Alternergy.
Thank you, Ces. Pleasure to be here. Love to see all of you lovely ladies.
You're the biggest wind turbine in the country has just landed. Tell us all about it.
It was a very challenging experience. We brought it all the way to an island called Alabat in Quezon, facing the Pacific Ocean. It was so difficult because a blade was 90-meter long.
Just a single
just
blade.
one. So that's a football field, a soccer field. And the tower will have two of them. So we have to slowly roll it out. And this is smack before Holy Week. So we had to do it when the tourists are stepping aside. We were very concerned about safety. But luckily, we managed to unload the first two batches of this biggest wind tower that we're going to build in the country. These are going to be 60-story tall, these towers, yes.
Wow.
3 times the height of the Quezon Memorial Circle.
Wow, amazing. And this can be a tourist attraction also, right?
Well, you know, when our team built the Bangi Bay wind farm in Ilocos, and we didn't realize it's going to become a tourist attraction. So when we built Pelilla, the one in Rizal, during Holy Week, and the whole year, we have 380,000 visitors, particularly during Holy Week. Ginagawang bisita ng iglesia.
Parang Stations of the Cross
well,
in a way.
diba there's a tour around Laguna Lake where you visit.
Yes,
they make it stop over in Pelilla. And so 380,000 visitors a year. So we've coined a new term, energy tourism. People want to see a wind tower, they haven't seen it. So we put exhibits to educate them what is wind power, what is renewable energy. Have you heard of a tourist going to a coal plant? I doubt it.
Oh, no. Well, protesters.
Yes, protesters. That's true. That's true. So there you go. It's we have a new term called energy tourism. Every time we set up a wind farm, prenuptial.
Pictures. Yeah, yung mga
Are
usong
there. Prenup. Of course, movie
Video.
sets apparently has been set in Pelilla. So who knows what will happen in Alabat.
So you're not just producing renewable power, but you're also creating a new field.
Well, we have a saying in the office. So the company is called Alternergy. So we alter the landscape with renewable energy. And then before you know it, the place that we built, mga kogon lang yan, just windy. But over time, you have somebody selling siomai, somebody selling pineapple juice.
So you're also providing livelihood for the community.
One of the wonderful things we did was we imported handicrafts makers from Ilocos, because that was the first wind farm. Brought them to Rizal, to Pelilla, teach the poorest of the poor families how to carve a souvenir windmill. So it's becomes a sustainable livelihood. They're selling them using
Too
bamboo.
bad you didn't bring samples.
I know.
Next time.
Next time.
Tell us what Alternergy hopes to achieve.
We have to make it personalized. And the thing is, we want to leave behind clean energy for the next generation. As you know, I have a 6-year-old daughter. I always think about it when I'm working so hard. Our team is working hard to get permits, which is not always easy. But we're doing it for our children, our future grandchildren, for our nephews and nieces. It becomes more personal that way.
And Alternergy only focuses on green energy. No, you don't have anything else. You don't produce anything else.
Pure clean energy. Just something that we could really proudly tell our young generation that this is for them, And that's what really sustainability is. How do you define
Exactly. How do you define sustainability?
Without opening the dictionary here, I think it's something that maybe you could continue doing, that you could leave behind for the next generation. So for instance, my great-grandmother had a piano. It's a little bit you know,
Old.
old already.
Yeah.
But why throw it away? So you just have it renovated, tune the
For
piano.
sure, the keys are ivory. Not
Pure-
now,
yes,
na
yes.
plastic na.
Correct. And now my daughter is playing on it. So that's a way of using something sustainable. I know some of you are fond of dogs, right?
Maybe
Both
all of
of
us.
them.
Yes.
Oh,
so,
me too.
All of us.
yeah. So
Ba't hindi ko sinaling sarili
you
ko?
know, so a good toy for a dog is an old pair of socks. Put an old tennis ball inside the socks, and voila, your dog has a new
Instead
toy.
of throwing,
Something new or something plastic. There you go. And I bet you they're going to like that old socks. I don't know where you're going to borrow it from, with an old tennis ball, and there you go. That's a very popular dog toy.
I remember your story on why you zeroed in on wind, because we're beset with all these strong typhoons, and you thought that might as well harness the energy of wind.
Okay. We always complain we're prone to natural disasters, you know, calamities. But when I was in my old government post, how can we position the country differently? We don't have a huge landmass like Thailand or Australia, but we're close to the typhoon belt. And why not use what could be destructive into something positive? And decided, let's focus on wind and make the Philippines the wind capital of Southeast Asia. And we are.
So that is what you're
That's how
doing.
we got into it, yes.
And then getting tourists to come also and take photographs of what? 60-story high
60-story high.
windmill.
You know, we work hard. Sometimes we're away a lot from our partners and beloved. So during the inauguration of Pililla, which is our wind farm, we decided, what is the gender of a wind turbine, windmill? We figured it was a female.
Why?
We just like it to be.
Watch out.
So you know what we did? We named every windmill after a mom,
Oh,
a
I see.
wife, a daughter. So the windmills of Pililla are all
Are
named after
all
yes,
women.
or named after women. Yes.
That beats a code number like L-4567.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You should
Rather
just be
than
like, may
getting-
problema kay Marta. Or
Correct,
kay
yeah.
Maria.
Tama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So my wife has a wind tower named after her.
Oh. Ang sweet
Have you
naman
named
ni
all of
Vince.
I don't know whether some are still available. Who knows? Yes. Yeah.
You know, Vince, when I was doing my research on renewable energy, what pleasantly surprised me was that the Philippines ranks second among emerging markets for investment attractiveness. Before we were ranked, I think, fourth, and now we're second.
Yeah. Well, our president's very much pro renewable. I mean, he saw the benefit of wind in Ilocos Norte when we were
He was
building.
the first,
It was the
actually.
first in all of
He was
Southeast
governor,
Asia.
no?
He was governor, and he really helped us a lot with dealing with right-of-way issues. So, with his administration, since they came in, he's really, Pauline, came up with very liberal policies, promoting solar and wind, liberalizing ownership by foreigners, creating more auctions, green energy auctions. So we have, our office is full of prospective investors from all over, from Japan, from Norway, from Denmark, from the UK, Singapore, Taiwan. Actually, our wind comes from Taiwan, if you think about it.
The Northeast Monsoon.
Northeast Monsoon is
Amihan.
from Taiwan.
What
Yeah.
happens though when it's
What
habagat?
happens when China takes over?
The wind's still there.
It will still be there. Maybe the scent might be different,
But
but
of
it will
course,
still be
that's
there.
out of the question,
Out of
right?
the
We
question,
will
yes,
not let
yes.
that happen.
No, definitely not. And I'm glad that we have the Coast Guard protecting our waters here that you featured earlier. Yeah.
You know what's surprising is people think green energy, clean energy is more expensive than coal. It's actually cheaper.
Cheaper.
Is that
At
correct?
the beginning, it was more expensive, yes. But over time, as towers become taller, solar panels become more efficient, the cost of producing them has come down to the point where it's actually cheaper than coal today. Yeah. Solar is the cheapest, except it only is available during the day, right? So our company is a triple play portfolio. We have wind. The windy months is actually a Christmas business. This October to March. That's the windiest time of the year. Hydro, well, around
But
July.
you do have
We have,
hydro,
to some
run
extent,
of river.
Yeah, we don't like huge dams because that displaces
Yeah.
a lot of people, and you know, there's some environmental issues
Animals.
there. So only run of river. But run of river comes from July till November. And solar during the day. And we have a fourth item now,
Of which is
battery systems.
That's what I wanted
Please
to ask
explain.
you. That's the missing link,
Yes.
right? For
because
renew
the capacity is
is
No.
small.
Small.
It's not renewable enough. It's
Okay,
too
pa-
expensive.
pa-
and
so-
So,
explain.
so say we have a solar plant, and you're producing a lot during the 11 to 2
yes, but you
p.m.
can't store the energy.
But you don't need it.
Efficiently.
Yes.
Yes.
So you store those
You're right.
kilowatt hours from 11 to 2.
Right.
Store them. A mall doesn't shut down at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I bet you're still there at 7, 8, or 9.
No, we're here in the studio.
Too bad.
But we can still follow.
So when you store that excess electricity during the hottest hours of the day, you could still, by storing it in large batteries, we're
Yeah.
talking about not this type of battery, we're talking about container sizes.
Yeah.
You could still then run
But they are expensive.
not any, well,
Okay.
over time.
Over
Over
time.
time.
Just like solar panels
Just
were
like
before.
electric vehicles are becoming cheaper. It's
So
the same
this is
system.
your-
Just as mobile phones are all batteries.
Right.
Yes.
So you're investing in
We,
this.
we built our very first solar battery system in Palau, in one of the islands in the Pacific. Yeah.
But in line with that, though,
Yes,
do you
Sean.
think that with the developments in battery R&D, would we be able to use renewable energy as baseline load anytime soon? Because that seems to be the missing link there.
Correct. That's a very good question, and that's often used as a criticism towards renewable. So let's split renewable a little bit. When you mention wind and solar, it's what we call intermittent. We don't know when the wind blows or when the sun is there. There's
Yeah.
what we call cloud event. You know, there could be a cloud over the solar farm. So it's unpredictable, right? And so unlike a base load, which in the old
Like
days
coal.
was coal, is running 24 by 7. But there's also renewables that are base load. Geothermal is one. And we are the second or third largest
In the world.
producer in the world. And also a large hydro, a large dam, which we have a few, can run 24 by 7. But we need more of those, to complement the intermittent wind or solar or hydro.
So will that alabat be base load? No.
No.
It's too far for one.
It's the first wind farm facing the Pacific Ocean, so the wind is actually amazingly strong. We were pleasantly surprised. There's another trivia about Alabat.
Okay.
It's beside Balisin.
Near Balisin. And whatever it is, there's more twins on that island than in any other island in the country. There must be
Twins.
something in twins. There's 55 pairs of twins on that island.
So is there something with the
Water?
Maybe there's something in the water.
Or the,
Or the
air.
air.
Or the wind. Or the wind. You have to research this.
Okay.
But how are you going to be connected to the grid?
We are crossing a small creek, no, not a creek, a strait, a 1 kilometer strait overhead to the mainland and to the NGCP. So that's important. That's actually the biggest problem of power projects here, connection to the grid.
It's the fact that we're an archipelagic country that's why electricity is expensive. One
Thank
of the
you.
factors.
Because we're 7,400 plus, you cannot build a very large power plant because you want to make sure that the grid is stable enough. If it's too big for an island, it will shut down the whole grid. You may not remember this, Cez, but when I was energy secretary,
That happened.
it
Many
happened,
times.
and I had a rather awkward nickname called the Prince, Vince, the Prince of Darkness. I had 3 Luzon-wide blackouts because the grid was not stable enough. This is before privatization.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm not anymore known as the Prince of Darkness,
That's
but
now
maybe,
you're out to
maybe the Prince of Lightness or
That
maybe
high, yeah.
something else. Yes,
or breeziness.
breezy.
Breezy.
Okay,
I like
yes.
that.
So yeah, the grid has to be strong.
yeah.
sorry, we're talking about the nature of our, unlike a Thailand or a Canada, where they could build
One
a
big
huge,
land
one big
mass.
power plant that is more economic, we have to build smaller plants that is suitable for the island, for the size of the grids.
But eventually, what will be Alternergy's contribution to helping the Philippines be able to be carbon neutral at
One thing,
some point in the future?
yeah, I think one thing is, you talked about electricity expensive. For me, renewable is a inflation buster. Because it's
How?
becoming so cheap, it's our way of fighting inflation. I mean, 2 years ago, we were all worried about inflation was in 9%. Now it's about 2 or 3. But because we have more and more renewable, and they're very predictable, you could have the same price over 20 years. And the more we build them, the lower the cost of electricity blended over time.
So this is about the cost of electricity, but about helping the environment.
Definitely helping the environment. I mean, we have no air pollution. Our windmills have no water pollution, except the bathroom in the substation.
What about nuclear energy, which is also, technically it's renewable, but you know, environmentalists
So what do
are-
you think of the nuclear?
Yeah.
I'm in the hot seat. Why did you ask me a hot question? Mark Kawanko is a classmate of mine. We went to school together. And every time we have a school reunion at Xavier School, this is the big debate. Because he's Mr. Nuclear Energy and I'm Mr. Renewable Energy. I cannot publicly say that I'm in pro-nuclear because I feel renewable is probably easiest to do. But for some folks, in some countries, they feel that nuclear
Is the way
could be
to
a
go.
good blend to, in an energy mix. But that's not,
Not
me
for
saying.
Alternergy.
That's not
No,
you saying it.
no, no. We're not going to get into nuclear. Yeah.
Well, Vince, you also have the government aiming for renewables to make up 35% of the country's power generation mix by 2030. That's 5 years from
It
now.
is.
Are we on track?
Correct. First, it's good to have a fighting
target.
target. That kind of mobilizes everyone. It's ambitious. We're trying to build our own pipeline to contribute to that target. We're actually a little bit more aggressive. We want to do it by 2028. Our goal of building 1,000 megawatts by 2028.
Pero you're a bit slow in achieving your target.
We're about to hit 500 in 2026 next year. So that means we're halfway there. So we have to accelerate between 2028, 26 to 28, another 500. So yeah.
And to Pau's question, is the government on track to hit 30 by percent by 2030, right? And 50% by 2050.
They're slightly behind, and that's why every time we have a meeting with the DOE, they keep telling us, when is this project coming on stream?
Because it'll be
They all
coming
care.
from
When is
you.
it going to come on stream? It's
They
all
have
this.
another green energy auction coming up. Are you participating? And what else is in the pipeline? So I'm assuming you're gonna try to hit 1,000 megawatts.
I will actually wanted to ask because
Yeah.
solar is difficult because of the land mass, no? But they have a new technology where you can put it
Yes.
over
A pond, a
pond,
fish pond.
fish ponds,
Correct.
fish farms.
Yes. So, Sean, there is a green energy auction, and for the first time, they're asking if there's any floating solar projects that they want to promote. Now, why is that relevant? Land is scarce, right? I mean, and there's a balance between converting what would be arable land into solar or keeping it as a productive agricultural field. But there are things called agrovoltaic.
Yun.
And there's another one called aquavoltaic. So I'll explain those two. Agrovoltaic is building solar, but giving a little bit of space while still being able to grow certain vegetables
So it's
that
like you
grow.
intercrop with solar
A lit-
panels.
Yes. Now, there are places in Cavite you go to. Upo. What's the Tagalog English of upo? Squash?
No, not
Something
squash.
gourd.
Gourd.
One of, yeah,
Gourd. Yes. They grow
Under they grow
the
in the shade.
shades. Yeah. So you could
Okay.
grow upo, gourd,
All right,
with
so
the solar farm. That's called aquavoltaic.
but before we go, we wanted to show your pictures with the panda giving
Yes.
to Pope Francis.
Thank you for bringing that
Yeah.
up. That's the big story.
You were once chair, or you're still with the WWF,
I
right?
was once the chair of WWF Philippines. I'm involved. I'm on the chair of
Here
the
you
board
go.
of WWF.
Oh, there you go.
So that's our CEO, Carter Roberts, giving a panda doll to the late Pope Francis, and he was so delighted. And the reason is that this beloved Pope Francis is probably the most environmentally friendly Pope we've ever had. In 2015, he came up with this encyclical called Laudato Si,
Yes.
praise be to you in Latin, but it was really, he was lamenting consumerism, unfettered economic exploitation, and he was calling all of us to take care of our common home, Earth. What an amazing, it's a 185-page
Yes. I should
thesis.
revisit it.
Yes, and he really was concerned about climate change and making sure that we take care of our environment. An amazing thesis that he wrote.
Thank you so much. We wish we could have you for an hour, but that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Vince Perez, Chairman of Alternergy.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.